when they mined an area, they put down yellow tape right across that line. See? And if you walked on the wrong side of that yellow tape, you blew up.
Strange Tales 136. I remember it very clearly, and that was my first exposure to Kirby. And I wanted to show it to people.
That is so rad. So
yeah, it's also so wrong. It said now on Indiegogo. It's not on yet.
I was gonna say, I'm like, you're not on Indiegogo yet. I would know this.
Never mind. Not yet. A few days. Not yet.
So, obviously that's you in the video without a hat on.
Yeah.
You look very, I mean, same guy, same Glenn Fleming, and it's so hard not to call you Mr. Fleming, by the way.
Why? Why?
Oh my God, Glenn, and I know you would appreciate this. I make old school look like, like, are you sure that you're not like from the chameleon 10th whatever century? From like, I'm like so old school. The older the better. The more classic, the better. I love things that I love all things elegant. I love all things very, like just, there was just such a beauty to the simplicity of the way that things were presented way back when.
And what they knew what they were doing.
Exactly. And oh man, I try not to sound judgmental, but there are some times where I'm like, this person doesn't know what classy even means. Like, not you, but like people in general. And sometimes I'm like, do you have any idea? Like sexy, okay? And I know I have a format and I've got a plan for you today, okay? Oh. But to me, graphic explicitness is not sexy. And
you need subtlety.
And the amount of hot that comes from subtlety or only showing a little bit, it's immeasurable. And society has forgotten this. I don't know why a comment about.
I worked for so long in graphics, and I come up against marketing people who had degrees in their field, but none of them were in marketing. So we had a guy who had a degree in geology telling me how to do artwork. I find that very, very offensive. I'm also like you, because I don't believe in reinventing the wheel.
Do not try to fix what's not, or don't fix what's not broken.
That's right. And
just
these people would come in. I'll give you the example. This guy is 20. He was 26. Right, and I think I was probably 50 then. So I'd been doing my job as long as he'd been alive, and he came into me.
You're describing experiences I've had being my age. Yeah.
He came into me, and he wanted he gave me a layout for a leaflet that had 3 sides, and I said, you can't have a leaflet with 3 sides. It must either have 2 sides, 4 sides. Yeah, right. So I proved it. He said you're just being awkward. I said no. So I got a piece of paper and I said, look, this is a piece of paper. It's got 2 sides.
Oh my God.
Right, 2 sides. Now, and I said to him, this is God. This isn't me. This is not my physics. So
you're like, I didn't create this
So I
math.
took the piece of paper and he agreed that it had two sides, right?
Okay.
And I folded it and I said, no, it's got four sides. You show me how I can produce a three-page leaflet, and I tell you, we will make $1 million overnight.
Right? Like we're getting rich over this
Yeah.
three-side thing
It's
that
impossible.
can exist.
And he thought I was just being awkward. So he went to see my manager, and my manager agreed that with me.
Of course.
How could he not?
Of course
How
he
could
did.
how could anybody with half a brain not agree? And but what he'd done, you see, he was used to using a computer, you see, so he can have 3 pages on a computer, and that's
exactly, yeah.
That scared me because he's in command. He's 26. He's probably running to be prime minister now, and that really worries me because he's a Dumbo.
You know, sometimes you just wonder. Like, I don't know what happened when you were born, but So we do have some viewers. I can see we have people watching, so feel free to let us know you're here and say hello to Glenn B. Fleming, my guest for today. Man of all things, not one thing, which I have to admit, I'm already biased and love you because, Glenn, as you already know, I'm not just an artist. I'm not just a writer. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? And like I get you on so many levels. And so the first part of spotlighting the masters is a cute little way. And I do this on some of my other shows, but this is my way of getting to know Glenn Fleming, as opposed to Glenn B. Fleming, the writer, the artist, the filmmaker. Okay? Because I want to know you too. So the first serious question for today is peanut butter creamy or chunky?
Chunky on toast with banana.
Ah, I love this specific specificity.
And I have to tell you that a friend of mine, he's not with us anymore. But when I went to California, he introduced me to that at breakfast time. Because at breakfast time, I'll just have a piece of toast. I don't eat a big breakfast. And he said, do you like peanut butter? So I said, yeah. So he said, put this on. It was crunchy. I'd had peanut butter before, and I'd had banana before, but not together. And he said, right, peanut butter on it. And he said, cut some banana on it. He said, and you bite that and tell me it's not good. And it was awesome. It's
phenomenal.
Yeah.
And peanut and I've had so many mornings I've lost count I will, whether it's toast or a bagel or even an English muffin, I'll put peanut butter on it.
Yeah.
Instead of butter or some other cream.
And another good thing is you get your jar of peanut butter, chunky peanut butter, and you get a spoon and you just eat it from the jar.
Now, I don't know if you've ever done this. Do you like M&Ms? Do you like plain M&Ms?
Yeah.
Yeah. Get yourself a bag of plain M&Ms, put them in a bowl. You get that spoonful of the peanut butter, and you dip it, Glenn. And you dip it.
I'll try it.
Oh my God, it's so good. And wow, and I know we're not there yet. Now I'll share the other. Don't forget to let me tell you about the other plain M&M trick that you gotta have. Okay, I know you're in England, right?
Yeah.
What part of England?
Manchester, in the north.
Okay, do you guys have Coke and Pepsi? Is that a thing there?
Yeah,
okay,
cool. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
So for you, if you have it, do you have a preference, Coke or Pepsi?
I don't drink it, but if I did, and I have obviously, but I don't drink this stuff, I would go for a diet Pepsi.
I'm a diet drink girl too. Like
not because of diet, because I'm watching my diet, just because it's not as sugary, right? It just tastes nicer.
Yeah, and I don't do it because I need to diet or lose weight, but I can't do the sugar that's in regular soda. It's too much sugar. That's way.
I work with a guy who drank 5 Cokes a day, 5 tins of Coke a day.
Oh my God!
I said to him, "You're crazy. You're mad."
Yeah, and I only have a soda if I go out for a meal and I'm in the mood for one. It's not a daily beverage. Coffee, tea. I make a pot of coffee in the mornings and I make a pot of tea Glenn, I stopped bothering with making a cup of tea one at a time a long time ago. I just make a pot because I'm gonna drink the whole pot of tea.
I drink tea. I don't drink coffee. The only time, in fact, the only time I drink coffee is when I'm in America.
Nice.
Because
and when you do,
because you have to join in when you go to countries. You have to live like the locals do, to an extent, you know.
Glenn, you could get taken down a road of some shenanigans with that attitude. I'm just saying, you can get yourself in trouble. I'm in the States.
I'm always in trouble.
Glenn's like, well, I was in the States. He does, you go out on I don't know, like a Bonnie and Clyde rob a bank moment, and you're like, well, I was in the U.S.
I saw Bonnie and Clyde's car.
Did you?
Yeah.
Holy hell! Were they in it?
No, I'm not that old. No. Don't tell you the story. Don't tell you the story of it. I was coming back from Las Vegas.
Yes, I want to know how you saw Bonnie and Clyde's car, and how did you know it was Bonnie and Clyde's car?
I was coming back from Las Vegas with Bob, right, and my former partner and his former wife, right. So we're coming back from Las Vegas, and we're driving along, and he said to me, "We're just about to leave Nevada and go into California. We've got to stop at this bar, and it's called Whiskey Pete's. And the tradition is that when you leave Nevada, you've got to go into a bar and have a drink." So I said, okay. So we went into Whiskey Pete's, through the foyer, through the door, and there's this car full of machine gun bullet holes.
Ooh.
From about the 30s, and above it said, "This is the authentic car of Bonnie and Clyde, Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barra, the notorious gangsters from Texas, Dallas, Texas, shot by the sheriff in 1934 and all this, and this is the actual car." So I thought, wow, fantastic. So we had a drink, and then we carried on back to Anaheim, where Bob lived, and Bob's brother was in the house, and he said, how was your trip? So I said, it was great, blah, 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 blah. He said, did you get to Vegas? So I said, yeah, I had a great time in Vegas. He said, did you have a drink on the way out? I said, yeah, we stopped at Whiskey Pete's. And he said, oh, yeah, I've done that. And he said, was there anything else there? I said, yeah, Bonnie and Clyde's car was there. The real car. And he said, yeah, I've seen that. I've also seen it in 5 other bars on the border.
Oh my God! That sounds about right. It sounds like America. I'm just saying. So I don't, depending on the geographical area of where you live. The next question: beach or mountains? Do you have a beach there? Do you have mountains? Have you been to either? Any preference?
We have both, but they're a few miles away. I would rather climb a mountain than walk on the beach.
Have you? I'm assuming you've climbed a mountain. Have you?
No.
Oh, Glenn. Are you able to? Do you think you could survive going up a mountain? No offense to your age, but
not now. No.
Okay.
I have seen Mount Everest though.
Yeah, being in San Diego, as you know, I told you that I'm here in San Diego. It's considered, and I know you love history. So San Diego is one of those cities that's considered, I can't remember, there's a name for it, but I can't remember the name for it. But we have all 4 seasons of sports here. Sporting activities like outdoor. We're a 4-season area for outdoor stuff. So you can go to the beach, the snow, the mountains, or the desert. You could go to any of those, and you can do them all in the same day.
Yeah.
With the driving. And so what I would say to that is, it's unfortunate if you couldn't get up a mountain right now, but only because if you had told me 4 years ago, I think it was, when I first started getting into hiking, if you had told me that I would have climbed 18 or 19 mountains or so, I would have asked what you were smoking, because whatever it was a pretty good drug, because there's no way you're getting me to climb a mountain. That's not happening. But I've done almost 20 or 21 peaks or something. And it's, I love the beach. I'm a total Actually, for me, it's the ocean. I don't even bother with the sand and the beach. I'm not that girl that goes there to lay out. I'm the athlete that wants to get in the water and boogie board. And I think I know we covered that you only drink coffee when you come to the U.S., so I'm assuming tea is your answer to this, coffee or tea?
Yeah, tea, yeah.
Do you have a preference for the kind of tea you drink?
No, I don't get into. My wife drinks all those.
Don't get into that.
I just have the supermarket tea. It's probably the dust off the floor, but I like it.
I love it. Anytime a married man says, "I just drink whatever my wife is making," I just dig it. I think it's that.
The only reason I drink the coffee in America, I think, is because you just can't get a decent cup of tea.
Oh, I know I was going to ask you. So when you do come to America and you drink coffee, would it be primarily where you go out in public to a restaurant or something?
Yeah.
Is there a coffee or a coffee drink of some kind that you do like or that you would lean towards or want?
If there was, I'm not sure what it's called now. It's not Java. That's just a nickname, isn't it?
Java is another word for coffee. Yeah.
Yeah.
Latte?
No, none of that. No, I don't buy that stuff.
So?
I wouldn't buy. I'll tell you what really does my head in, as we say.
I love this.
And it's an American thing that everything American always comes here. Now, nobody loves America more than I do, but not here. Not where I am. And it really does my head in when I see these people walking about with these stupid cardboard cafe latte mocha doca choca shit, right? It just does. And they say, "Do you want an extra shot with that?" What the fuck is all that about? You know what I mean? I don't care. So no.
I do stand. I write comedy and I do stand up, and you just made me lose my shit. That's a bit like I love America, but over there,
I've been to America 20 times. I've been all across America, both sides, down the middle, through top to bottom. I've been around America a lot.
Have you been to San Diego?
But I haven't been to San Diego.
Oh, hey, there's tons of places to come. Oh, America, U.S., it's so big. Well, Glenn, when you make your fortunes with your book and your stuff, you'll have to decide if you want to come here or not. Now, I don't know if this is a thing in your country, but mayonnaise or Miracle Whip?
Well, I don't know what Miracle Whip is, and the only thing I'd have mayonnaise with would be to dip chips in, or fries to you. Chips to us are crisps. Sorry, right. Chips to you are crisps. We call crisps. You get potato chips.
Okay, yeah, but you guys don't really have French fries, really, right?
No, we have chips.
Chips.
Which are thicker French fries.
Okay, yeah, like
same thing.
Here they'd probably call them like potato wedges or something.
Yeah.
They probably call it wedges or something. But what if the wife, and you might not know the answer to this, but if the wife makes you a sandwich, if she's making you a sandwich, Glenn, what is she putting on it cream wise? Is there something she's putting on it?
No, that's you see, Americans can't leave things alone. Let me tell you my sandwich. I don't even have butter on the bread. So if I'm making a ham sandwich, I will have a piece of bread, a piece of ham, and a piece of bread.
No cheese?
Oh no.
He's like
that's a cheese and ham sandwich. I'm having a ham sandwich.
I love that because, and I know you would get this. It speaks so much to how overdoing it, over expending, over complicating humans in general can be.
Yeah.
You take these really simple, basic things that are delicious by themselves, and then you slop all this other crap on it. I'm not vegan right now, but I was vegan for a spell. And one of the biggest things I appreciated about it is you take cheese out of your menu. You can taste the food. You can taste the sauce. You can taste the crust. You can taste the noodle. cheese will mask almost all the other flavors. And if it had, so any of the dishes that I ever had eaten before that did, once I removed the dairy and I removed that, blew my mind. I'm like, holy crap, this is the best pasta sauce I've ever had in my whole life. And Glenn, I never realized honestly, I had never tasted pasta sauce. Really, not really, because it was always like Parmesan on top or cheese on top. And all of a sudden I'm like, holy fuck, this is good. It was crazy. So we've got our first comment of the morning from Joe.
Hi, Joe. Hi, Joe. How are you doing?
From the desk of a small press publisher. Good morning, Dori and Glenn. So then the last part of now that we're hungry and we started our morning with food, pancakes or waffles, Glenn?
Pancakes.
Yeah. Nice. Now, do you like waffles at all, or do you ever get them?
Yeah, they're okay. Pancake, all you do with a pancake, or all I do with a pancake,
I want to know,
is put lemon on it.
What?
Lemon.
Squeeze some lemon juice?
Squeeze it from the actual lemon. Just squeeze it on the juice.
Do you also use syrup or just the lemon?
No, just the lemon.
I don't know what this is going to taste like, but I'm trying. I'm trying this.
It's really nice.
I kid you not. Like, I've got so many reasons why doing the Spotlight show was a good idea a year or so ago. About a year right around when COVID hit us all.
Yeah.
I started Spotlights, and I've got a list of about 4 or 5 dishes or food things I've got to try, and that just went to the top of the list. Squeeze a lemon on my pancake. I don't know what that's about, but I'm going to go.
That's
wow.
all you do. It's simple. Keep it simple. Like you said, keep all this. Okay. I mean, sauces are nice on things, of course they are, but sometimes it's nice just not to have them on. Just
right.
Just taste what it's supposed to be, rather than 15 different sauces on it.
That's so. Again, going back to the simplicity and the flavoring and how I think there's so much we're missing by keeping it simple in that something like that.
I went to a barbecue last week. And, my wife's friend's birthday, and they cook the sausage on the barbecue. It's all really nice. They do nice Cumberland sausages. I don't know whether you get Cumberland sausage. They've all got seasoning in them and really nice sausages, right?
Mm-hmm.
Put it in the bread, and immediately all the other people put brown sauce on it, tomato ketchup on it, mustard on it, and I don't. I want to taste the sausage, and that's what I do. I eat the sausage, not 14 tons of gook on it.
Yeah, you just reminded me of something I do, because I went. So yesterday was my son's football game. He's a varsity football player for his high school, and I get to the game, and my first order of business is my son knows I'm there. Like, because I go to the sideline and I wait at the fence, and because he's on the sideline, he's playing football. But he will, if I wait long enough, he'll turn around and he'll see me. Because if I go sit in the stands, he may never see me.
Right.
And
you ever thought he doesn't want to see you? Maybe you're putting him off. Maybe you're putting him off.
He is 16. He's like,
Mom, go away, Mom, go away.
I know. And so I that's always the first order of business. But the next thing I did, I went to the snack bar and I stood in line for, at least 15, 20 minutes to buy one hot dog. And I got my Diet Coke. And I didn't put a thing on that hot dog. I don't put anything on it. Maybe once in a blue moon I will put stuff on a hot dog, but otherwise it's bun and dog. That's all. Don't be messing with my hot dog.
Or a bun and a burger. You don't need. If I do have a burger, I might put some red onion on it.
Okay.
But nothing. Yeah. I won't bother with lettuce and all that stuff. I don't want to eat that.
Yeah. So for those of you watching or watch this later, this is the message here. The philosophical morning message from Glenn and I is to stop putting a bunch of crap on your food. Okay, so
eat the meat.
we're gonna switch and warm up. I've got you warmed up. I know way more. See, Glenn, I think I know way more about you as a person than I could have ever asking you anything else. Okay, but what was your favorite toy as a kid, as a child, and why was that your favorite? Do you know?
I don't know about a favorite, but one of the first things I got was a GI Joe, which we call an action man, but it was but I got a GI Joe, you know, the little doll guy.
Oh, I know who they are. I know that.
I had one of those when I was about 8, and I thought that was absolutely brilliant. But there's always a downside to things, and my friend Paul, his family were quite wealthy, and he had all the helmets and the rifles, but he had 6 different types of helmets and 6 different uniforms, and I only had the one, you know. But mine was better than his. But I like mine. My dad was a paratrooper in the war, so what I did was, me and my brother, we got some cellophane, and we made GI Joe a parachute, and we climbed up on the roof and threw him up in the air, and he floated down on this parachute.
Do you remember, did you ever have the toys, the little toy soldier guys that actually came with a parachute?
No,
never saw those. And I don't know who made them. I don't know who that toy maker was, but you just reminded me of how much I loved those. G.I. Joes, I was a tomboy. I didn't want anything to do with my sister's Barbie dolls. I didn't want a Barbie doll for myself. No. You give me a Barbie doll, I'm going to take her head off. I'm going to cut her hair. and you know, not to be too graphic, but I'd make my brother's G.I. Joe dolls do stuff to the Barbies. That was what I was doing with the Barbies. I was not playing with the Barbie doll as a girl, okay? G.I. Joe was my first, like, my favorite toy was a teddy bear, but still, my brother's G.I. Joes, and his Hot Wheels. Did you have Hot Wheels, the little Hot Wheel cars?
I think Paul had them. I didn't have them, but I think he did. He had everything.
Paul had everything, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Damn, Paul.
But he couldn't draw.
So the little army men, did you have any of those? Did they have those there?
The what? The little...
So here, I don't know if they had them in England, but they were called little army men, and they were these little figures. They were green, and I think they were cream-colored ones.
We had really tiny ones, probably about half an inch high. We had British Army ones and German ones and things like that, and we used to play with those and mess about with those. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, those toys here, whatever set, I don't know, not all the sets had them, but they literally came with a little plastic umbrella, and it had strings, and it was already attached to the guy, and the idea was you'd ball it up in your hand and you'd throw it up as high as you could in the sky, and it would. Wait, I love those. And you're like, well, see, Glenn, someone in the States made tons of money on the one that actually came with the parachute, and you're the kid over there in England making them yourself. You're like, you know what this G.I. Joe needs? He needs a parachute.
Well, he got
that
one because
so much like you.
He got a parachute because my dad had one, so you know, it follows, doesn't it? So.
Right.
My dad didn't like Americans, so he wasn't happy with Americans, like a lot of British people, a lot of British men in the 40s. You know, because all the Yanks came over, and they all had nicer uniforms and more money and accents, and ran off with all the girls. You see, so. And then this checks out.
and
then what happened? They went and either sadly got killed or went back home and never went with these girls again, and they all had babies and blah blah blah.
I left. I was like, where's your dad? I don't know. He's in England. He's having toast and peanut butter and banana for breakfast. Okay, if you could pick one spirit animal or creature, what would it be, and why?
An animal, a dog. Oh, dogs are brilliant.
Okay, now, do you like wolves or dogs? We're talking about domestic dogs, like a pet. Do you have a dog?
A domestic dog, yeah.
Do you have a pet dog?
No. We always had them as kids, and the last one we had was about getting on for 40 years ago, because it just gets too traumatic when they go.
This is true.
So everybody was leaving home around that time. So my mum said no more dogs because it was just too traumatic.
Oh. I get it. I totally get that, because I got a Cocker Spaniel when I was 23 years old. Her name was Molly. And when she passed in 2008, she was almost 15. I haven't had a pet since.
No.
And I seriously doubt I will.
Yeah, I love dogs. The dogs are brilliant. I'm not keen on cats because cats just want food. But dogs are really pleased to see you. Whether you've got
and
food
cats
or not.
own you. Cats own you. You don't own a cat.
I did. The only cat I had was murdered by some bastards who took her away, and I found out later she just disappeared. And I found out later, and I was only about 5 or 6. I found out later. My dad told me a lot later that these bastards took her away, smashed her up, and threw her in the canal.
You know,
he found her.
Mm.
You know, some people are going to burn in hell.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stories of those kind of things, human cruelty and things like, or where they'll put them in bags and the cats fight each other, or they'll throw them in a can and put a bunch of like cherry bombs or little firecrackers in there. It's all sad. Okay, you're going to the movies. What's that thing? What's that treat you got to have when you go to the theater?
American box of popcorn.
Popcorn. Yeah. I love telling people, Glenn, that I like popcorn with my butter. Do you put butter on yours?
Yeah. Yes, rather than salt. Yeah.
Okay, so I remember how I was telling you about the don't let me forget about the plain M&Ms thing.
Yeah.
So you get your big thing of steaming hot, hopefully hot, popcorn with all that butter on it. You take a little bag of M&Ms, the plain ones, and you sprinkle them on the popcorn.
Right. Okay.
And the chocolate inside gets melty, but that candy outside coating kind of protects the chocolate from getting too drippy. And when you put in a handful of that in your mouth with a couple of M&Ms, holy moly, man!
So, I'll tell you a story about when I went to the cinema. I went to see. There was a film out. I've not been to the cinema to see a film since Watchmen, which I think was about 2008. But a few weeks before, I used to go a lot. But a few weeks before that, I went. I took myself off Sunday morning, 9 o'clock. No, there's going to be nobody there, and I went to see this film called RFK about Robert Kennedy. Martin Sheen was in it, and all those people were in it, and it was about, when Bobby Kennedy was killed and the ambassador. It was about that, but it was about Bobby Kennedy, so to speak, an actor, whoever played him, wasn't in it. It was the reaction of all the other people to the shooting. Right?
Okay.
So it was a bit sideways from the story, but I'm interested in that. So I went to see it. So I'm sitting in the cinema, 9 o'clock in Sunday morning. There's nobody in the theatre. I've got my popcorn. And I'm eating my popcorn because I always manage to eat the popcorn before the film comes on because it takes so bloody long for the film. Anyway, so I'm munching this popcorn, and I'm sitting in this theatre on my own, and I'm waiting. The adverts are on, and I'm waiting for the film to come on.
Right.
The door goes, and this woman comes in. So because I just looked because it made a noise, and I just looked, and behind her, 2 little kids run down the aisle. Giddy and giggling and all that, about 6 years old.
Okay.
So I thought, right, okay. So then the door kept going, and all these women kept coming in with all these kids. So after about 10 minutes, there's about 50 kids, 6 years old, running up and down, screaming, hollering, going fucking crazy. And all these women are yakking, and they're all looking at me, these women. They kept glancing over at me.
What are you doing here?
Right? So I'm thinking, I'm coming here to see RFK, which is pretty serious. What's all 50 kids doing? Maybe they're educating them. And these women kept looking at, glancing over at me and saying, whispering, and I'm thinking, what's going on? Anyway, then so then this woman says, okay, kids, and the film, this is to certify that, and
Right.
it said happy feet.
Oh,
So they think
you're
I'm
in the
some.
wrong
So
theater.
they think I'm some pervert. No, what happened was I went to the right place, but the girl got it wrong and the advertising
Oh,
got it wrong. It said 9 a.m., but it was actually 9 p.m. So I was there. I was
oh,
there 12 hours.
you're there in the at mommy and me
So,
time to
so I had
watch
to get.
Happy Feet.
So I had to get out. I couldn't stay.
You're like, I gotta go.
These women are watching me. I'm this pervert, but what do you know? It was really scary.
Oh,
So I got my money back. I went to the man. I said I said to the girl outside, I said, can I get the manager? Because this could be serious. I might get reported to the police.
like what is
And
this man doing in
that's
here?
right, yeah. Eating popcorn in the middle of 50 kids. It's not good, is it?
Well, yeah. You know what's sad, Glenn? Here's what's really sad is that we live in a world where you'd actually have to be concerned about being accused of being that just
That's
because
right.
of what you were. We would like to believe that we don't have to live in a society where that's where people go with the thought process.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we have so many predators.
Yeah, but maybe that was my thought process because they didn't do anything. They just said, "What's he doing over there?" You know? So.
No, it may, well, whether it's your thought process or theirs, the point is that a man, I have sons, I have 2 kids, I have 2 boys. It's the sad state of affairs of the world that a man's thought process is going to go to worrying about being perceived that way by a group of women just because he happens to be in a theater in the wrong place. You know, like, it would be nice if we didn't have those types of predators in the world that wouldn't exist. If they didn't exist, you wouldn't have this thought process. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. So I queued up a video that I'm going to add to the stream. This is a video that you shared with me, and let me make that full screen. And of course, the artist in me wants to talk art. We're gonna switch it. We're gonna switch to art talk.
I think it gets a bit clearer in a minute.
Yeah, it's paused right now, so I've got it muted, and it's gonna play, and I'm gonna just let it run while we chat over it, because you know it is an 11. So this is a time lapse thing. So what kind of pencil are you using here?
That's a 3B pencil. And
I have no idea what that means.
Well, pencils you get, if you get an H pencil, that's a hard pencil, and if you get a 1H, 2H, it gets harder. So if you go the other way, you get a B, a 1B, 2B, and a 3B. That pencil gets softer.
Okay. So because I'm, me and my American Girl world over here, it's like a number 2 pencil. Like that's what we use.
Right, well, I don't know, but and then I use an HB pencil, which is sort of medium strength, as it were, to tighten pencils up.
So is an HB different than 3B?
Yeah, it's not as soft.
Okay. Thank you. Maybe if a video is, oh, there we go. So the other.
You're frozen again.
To use a lot of power running 2 things now. So there we go. Is that a world you're sketching? Is that a planet? Is that a globe?
Yeah, it's a planet. Yeah, you'll see it later. It's I've got the artwork here. I can show you when we're seeing this.
You do, yeah.
We can see it now.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Pause.
So that's the planet I'm drawing there.
Oh, I see. Okay. Ah, wow. So I saw this actually. I saw this piece when you were on Madness. Yeah. Absolutely. Of course, being that I love color, that use of that orange, it just blows my mind. So, is that in the actual painting or the illustration you showed me? Is it meant to be Earth or is that a moon? What is?
It's just another planet. It's a planet in the story called Elsewhere.
Okay.
and it's they're mining there, and that's that's what the story is about. They're getting they're mining gold and stuff on that planet.
Yeah.
And the astronauts live in a space station above the planet, which I have here too. I'll show
So
you.
Joe D says that most number 2 pencils that I would buy here at an office supply or drugstore in the States is usually a 2HB is what it's considered.
Yeah.
So thank you for that clarification, Joe D.
That's where the astronauts are.
Let me put you back.
That's
Okay.
that planet. That's the planet, and that's the station they're on.
Ah, and this is in Hatch or a different story?
No, this is called The Amazing Mr. Kuiper. It's nothing to do with
Oh,
Hatch.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
I know the answer to this question because it's the name of the darn video I have queued. I went and got the video off YouTube. I know the answer to this. I'm sorry. So, and honestly, I'm sorry. I am sorry, Glenn, that I had to ask you that, but I'm kind of not, because you have so many publications. You have so much work. You're known for so many things. I'm not really sorry that I forgot the name of one of them.
It's all right.
That's kind of a good sign, right?
Yeah. This one's not finished. This Mr. Kuiper's not finished yet. I've decided I was going to do a 72-page graphic novel.
Okay.
But that would take me a year. So, and I like to eat peanut butter with banana, so I couldn't spend the time. So what I'm doing with this one, I'm doing as I did with another one I'll show you. I wrote a prose book. I'm going to write a prose book about this, and then put spot illustrations in the book. I did it with a book called Iapetus Rising there.
Iapetus Rising. And by the way, and I know I meant to tell you this offline, but I don't think you'd mind. Not all of your publications are attached to your author page, by the way, on your Amazon. So you may want to go look at that.
Okay.
And I would assume you know how to do that, where you go to your author dashboard and you claim you make sure the book is listed as one of yours.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's
there was
yeah, I'll check it out.
I want to say there was at least 1 or 2 I didn't see affiliated together, and it could just be because I would find the book on Amazon and it would have you there as the author, but when I'd go to your actual author bio page, it wasn't listed.
Right. Okay.
So, from speaking from my own experience, I have to go in I have to go in that admin part, and then I have to. So, all this is the penciling right now, right? You have it.
This is being inked now.
You're being inked.
That's being inked. That's the drawing inked, and I've just left. There's Mr. Kuiper in the doorway. He's not been drawn yet.
And this is all hand painted, hand penciled, hand inked.
And colored and everything.
Of all of the people I wanted to talk to, this is one of the reasons why I did want to talk to you, because I did, as you know, I did this haiku series. I sketched and inked and painted. I didn't paint my originals. Do you paint your originals?
Yeah.
Okay. I did that with some of them. There was a few that when I got started on it, I was just painting my originals. And then I had a piece, I can't remember which one it was just off the top of my head, but I didn't want to paint the sketch. So I light boarded it and painted a copy.
Right.
Because of course and so.
Well, I've done that, and I'm not against that, but I find that if you lightbox it and do another drawing, you lose some of the energy from it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're tracing, aren't you? You're rather than producing. So I'm not against doing it, and I have done it, but I like to use this, go into the same drawing and colour it, unless it's not going to be in colour. Obviously, I don't colour everything.
No, yeah.
But, I did some pen and wash.
Exactly, and that's why I was drawn to asking you about your process, because I did it the way I did it because I'm a painter as opposed to an illustrator, And I had never done illustrating per se, where you're taking a story and you're matching it to illustrations like art. Yeah, I got art, sketching and painting and all that stuff. But that's how I would normally do anything. I would never ever normally ever paint a separate page or separate piece of whatever. I would just literally do everything on one page the way that you've described what you do. And I think part of it is because I use watercolors. I use seriously dark colors. I get all kind of ways crazy about the colors. So what kind of brush is this? A brush or a pen? What are you using right here?
That's a brush. I don't know what size it is, but it's a very small one, obviously. But I've got some here. I use
brushes. The one thing I know for a fact that I can't skimp money on anymore is brushes.
Yeah. Those.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that looks very similar to my brush set. I actually hi Pops. Pops says, hey yo.
Pops.
Pops is here.
How are you doing, Pops?
I am a huge fan now. I do have sets of brushes, and I still get sets of brushes because I do, like, if I want to do a big space, I don't need to use anything super fancy. But the last time I went to the art store, he says he's getting ready to leave for Hall of Heroes Comic-Con.
Have a good time. I wish I was going.
Yeah, and Mike Jimmy is also at a con right now.
Yes.
So this just blows my mind because I know you're using a brush, and are you using those now? You're coloring it, okay?
Yeah.
The inking part, I'm assuming black ink.
Yeah.
And
I use.
I know you showed it to me, but I want to make sure. I kid you not. I mean this sincerely. I feel like you need to give me a shopping list. Like, God, this is what you need to go buy, Dori.
For inking, I use this kind of thing, which is just a felt tip pen, really. Different sizes.
Oh, is there a brand? I saw some of those at the art store.
Or a dip pen.
Is that considered a quill? Am I getting that right?
Yeah, I suppose it will be. Yeah, but it's a metal one. But I've got some. Helen's got some real quills that she's going to convert into pens for me. So that'll be interesting.
Do you put ink in one of those?
You dip it into your ink.
I totally messed that all kinds of ways up. I put myself on solo layout, Glenn. Holy crap! That's not what I wanted.
And also for inking on the line, I can use a smaller brush. Depends what you want to do with it.
Okay, I'm listening.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. And the ink, I use coloured ink, and I'm using those at the moment.
Yeah. So I found these Magic Color. I found that brand. I have the brand that. Now, what I didn't get a chance to ask you when you were on that other show, because I know you showed me that. Does it say on there, is that ink acrylic?
It's acrylic, yeah.
It is acrylic, okay.
Yes.
Because I found a set of acrylics. I actually have some blue acrylic ink. It was gifted to me in an art box of art supplies, and it was really cool. I worked with it, and I like it. And I definitely have it in my shopping list of things. And
it's really great if you get the water, get it really. What I'm learning on the artboard I use is that I tend to put too much on. Don't let it down enough. And when you put it on, it looks great. It looks really thin, but it always dries darker. So always remember it dries darker. When you put it down and you think there's not enough on it, leave it
alone and let it dry,
because it will dry darker.
Yeah, I know to do that with my watercolors. I know to do that with paint, and sometimes there's sometimes I already have, I've used it enough, or I know the color, or I know exactly what it's going to look like dry, and so but I love that you gave me that tip, because I haven't painted, like I've used that blue ink to play with or to see what it looked like as an outline, but I haven't painted with inks the way you painted this piece. And this is my aspiration. If I can do that, my brain tells me then I can learn to do this.
And also, as I pointed out before to people, when I'm doing artwork, I never throw anything away. If I do a piece that I don't like, I keep it.
I got to see this.
And I'm going to prove my own point here. When I wrote the book about my dad's parachute jump on D-Day.
Yes, I saw that in your Amazon.
My dad was a Bren gunner. That's like a light machine gun.
Okay.
And I drew this. I did this, and I cursed myself because I just spent a couple of days doing this drawing, and I didn't get it right. And I put it to the side, and I thought, well, there's 2 days wasted. And then a couple of days later, I looked at the drawing again, and I was still angry with myself not getting it right. So I just threw a load of color on it, right? Just to see. And it turned out to be possibly the best painting in the book. And I'll show you.
Oh, really? Hold on. Oh my God, I love that.
Now you got to remember that when he landed, it was dark, so that's why it's all dark and black. And the blast, and the muzzle flash is just obviously the light. But I just threw all that on in disgust with myself, and I thought, and when I looked at it later, I thought, wow, I'm going to put that in. So it went in. It wasn't going to go in. It went in the book.
Right, and I love what you just shared, because I was showing. I was on a show yesterday where I was on with Will Pace, and he was asking about my artistic journey and art stuff. And 3 of the most important things I've gotten to learn and I've learned over the years. So the video actually the video kept playing. I forgot I had it on play, and it kept going, and then it stopped, and I'm like, so I backed it up a little bit to this. We're back to where you started. It's so. Number 1 for me is not forcing it. So I'll get to a certain point with a piece, and there's a few cues that I've started to recognize. If I start hating on it, like I'm like doing what I'm doing and I'm not liking it, I will put it away.
Yeah.
If I am working on it and I'm starting to find my hand getting lazy, or I'm not taking as much, time with it, I put it away. Anything like that, I've learned to put it away. Stop doing anything on it, put it away.
Yeah, there's a difference, you see. People, and I say this, you've got to make it work, but that doesn't mean that you have to flog it to death and then bin it. You got to make it work, because you start with a blank page and a pencil, and you've got to make it work. But if it's not working, don't force it.
Don't force it. So number 1 is don't force it. And then number 2 for me is when I am working on it, no matter what time, whether it's when I start, I have to have patience with it. I have to do it patiently.
Now, this next piece I want to show you is the cover of my dad's book. Now, my wife is an artist as well, and I did all the drawing on this, and I did all the men and the trees, but I was really scared of doing the sky. So Helen did the sky for me, and it's the best piece on it. I'll show you.
Whoa, Glenn. It almost, it looks 3D. Like the sky just moved. The plane moves. And I know you can't probably see it right now because you're in the stream, but go back and come to this point in the video and watch this part as a viewer, because I kid you not, when you move, even before you started moving it around, the plane moved visually to me because of the way she's got, and I already know why. And as a painter, I can tell you that darker shading in the clouds that's going kind of horizontal.
Yeah.
The way it's lined up with the plane's angle is why the plane moves. The plane moves in that painting.
That's right.
That's just fuck it. I'm going to say the F word. That's just gorgeous.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Like, and I love how the plane is crazy good. I'm like, it's literally jumping off that page. So I'm gonna go real quick. I think so. After this, in the video, you go from the coloring, and then it shows the end result, which we have in real life.
Yep.
You have it with you. So I'm gonna remove that from the stream. So,
Okay.
because I wanna go back to what you were saying about the color drying, or
Yeah.
you know, your ink drying. Do you find is there a difference based on the color?
So again, is a different.
Any difference in the color, like depending on the dry time? Is there some colors? Are there colors you know are going to be what they are, and drying it's not going to matter?
Well, yeah, I know pretty much what they're going to be, but it also depends on the kind of board you're using, because I use rough and smooth board, and if you use, I'm finding that if you use smooth board,
I don't think I'll be using a smooth board.
Right. The paint sits on
Go
the top.
on.
Sits on the top, but the rough board is better because it soaks in that much, and it gives it more texture. Like I want to show you something now. This is from Iapetus Rising, and this shows you how you don't have to color everything, and how a pencil is a very, very important part of it.
Yes.
Not just for rendering. Look at this.
Okay. I'm going to. That is all pencil.
The background is a pencil, but in the foreground it's inked in.
It's colored.
Yeah, inked in and colored.
Oh, I love this so much on so many levels for so many reasons. I've done a few pieces where the pencil, because I don't know if you know this, and you probably do. You can add water to a pencil piece, and the pencil almost becomes like a watercolor. It becomes like a gray.
Well, if you look at that Kuiper film that you just showed, you'll see that I paint over the pencil.
Yes.
I shade with the pencil, giving away secrets here. I shade with the pencil.
No, I do a lot of what you're talking about.
And then pen over it, and it gives it a really good. And like you say, sometimes you can actually pick up some of the pencil and move it around if you use a 3B, really, really, really soft pencil, and move it around, and it gives it the fantastic texture.
And I've done the thing where I move it around, but I also I call it moving the paint, and whether it's paint or pencil, I move it. But I also will end up redoing all the line work with the pencil as I'm doing it. Like I'll take the water in the pencil, that whatever that little bit of dampness is, and I'll shove it. Yeah. That's what I call it. I shove it up against the line.
Yeah.
So then the lines are more defined.
That's right. Yeah. So.
And I think you already know this because I had said it in one of my other streams. When I sat to illustrate this haiku series, I went off of what I know. I went off of what my experience is. And what I definitely know for a fact going into volume 2, when I do volume 2, is I'm going to use the rough textured boards as opposed to I used my sketch paper. I used the sketch paper. But I've always used regular sketch paper, and it never occurred to me that maybe I'd want to get the watercolor sketch paper, or the paper that's meant for watercolors.
Right.
Because when I used to do work on sketch paper before, because I transitioned to canvas years ago, and I stopped doing anything on paper. I stopped everything on paper, and I became solely a canvas painter. So I sit down to do these illustrations, obviously not the best paper choice. Even though it was good quality sketch paper, not the best if I'm going to watercolor it.
Do you stretch it though? Are you stretching it before you work?
No.
Does it buckle and go all wavy?
It does. Now I can press it and flatten it, and it looks just fine.
Now what you need to do is stretch it on a piece of wood. Dip it in water.
Well, I was gonna just switch to. So after that day that you were in the stream, and I was asking about, I'm all in the chats going, I just want Glenn to myself right now. Everybody needs to leave, right? And I'm like messaging the chat. Poor Pops, he's like, man, Dori, guys, Dori, this is Dori. Like you're trying to sell art, and I'm like, someone had gifted me that same box I was telling you about that had the acrylic blue ink in it. There were these little card things of watercolor paper. They're just these, maybe the size of a 3x5, a 4x6 or something. And honestly, Glenn, as a canvas painter, I got this gift box and I'm looking at this little pack of watercolor paper going, what the hell am I going to do with this? I don't paint this small. I don't draw this small. What is this even here for?
Aren't they just for test pieces though? You do a test and then do a fuller rendering later. I'll tell you what we did a few years ago. Helen and I had an exhibition and we made our own canvases. We stretched them, we cut the wood, put it all together. The whole artwork was made by us. The whole thing. We still got about 20 canvases to fill because we do oils as well sometimes. So
yeah, do you know Matt Barr? Matt Barr is a painter. He's an artist. He's on he's been on the artist on some books and campaigns and stuff, and he paints as well as does comic books. Right. And he does his own canvas like you just described. He makes his only. Now he also is the one who told me I need to go bigger because my biggest, like maybe a 16x20 is like it's the biggest size I have in my room right this minute. It's not the biggest I've ever painted, but he told me you need to go even bigger, and I'm like, dude, I don't even have the space for bigger.
We've got about, I think it's 4 or 5. I think they're about 60 by 60 inches. The huge canvases we've made. We haven't
I'm sorry, Joe. I missed this from Joe. This must have been when you were holding up one of the pieces. Talking, yeah, it does pop. Sorry, Joe. Sorry. Continue.
We've got some huge canvases that we've not got round to painting on yet. We've just slowly. We've got that much going on. Helen's a ceramic artist and she's getting ready for an exhibition.
I did ceramics with my grandma.
She makes the most fantastic things. She makes things as big as the sofa. You know, she makes these huge pieces of art. You know.
Wow.
She doesn't make small things. She makes these huge pieces.
And she has a kiln that's big enough for them?
She has access. She doesn't own the kiln, but she has access to the kiln, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, like a home kiln probably wouldn't do a piece as big as what you're describing.
No, she needs the...
But I have heard of
the one she has where she works is almost a walk-in kiln.
Yes, I was going to say, I've seen them. I have never seen one in person, but I've watched videos because I spent quite a few of my summers when I was in foster care. I would get to go spend summers with my biological grandmother in Tulsa. And her entire garage, there was nothing in that garage that was not ceramic related. It was her garage was her shop. It was her studio. And I got to spend one of my summers there. I made myself a chess set.
Wow.
And from start to finish, she showed me how to pour the molds. She showed me how to take them, once it's out of there, fire them, paint them, seal them, all that. I made my hands-on. I think I was 15. Right. And of course, now I'm 51. I've since who Lord knows what happened to that chess set, but I still have my grandmother's wedding ring. I wear it on my right hand. This is her ring. I may not have that chess set, but this wedding ring is on my right hand because I'm not married. But it was. I don't remember when she gave it to me, Glenn, but I didn't start wearing it until after my second divorce. I've been married and divorced twice, and I know for a fact if I ever got, I don't know, knock on wood, if I ever decide to say I do again, this is going on the left hand. Nobody needs to buy me a ring. I've got the ring I'm wearing.
She'd like that, wouldn't she? She'd like that.
Yes, and that's exactly the point, because she is. That's partially also why is that she has since passed, and she's, no. So it'll be a cold day in hell for me to say I do again. But if I ever do, we don't need a band. I've got the band. You just go by me, and don't bother with a rock because I'm a baseball girl. So the only diamonds that are my friend are the green kind with the backs. That's one of my stand-up bits, by the way. The whole diamond thing. I go off on, like, one of my little bits is about the just hysterical obnoxious ridiculousness of what women expect.
Yeah.
And the rock and the diamonds are a girl's best friend. It's a play on words, and I'm making fun of that. So, okay, so I know we played the trailer for the book at the beginning. For some reason, that one that I played at the beginning seems different than the one I've seen you playing on other shows. Do you have another version of it?
I do, yeah. It's
And is it on YouTube, the other version? Or do you have it as a video file?
it's on. Yeah, it should be there. Yeah, it should be there.
Okay. Then let me go back. Let me go back to your channel and see if we can queue up the one that doesn't say it's on Indiegogo.
Let me just have a look. Well, I'll tell you what. Just play that one again, and we'll just tell everybody that it's not on Indiegogo yet. So be warned, everybody. Dori's
So yeah, I was
the video, and it says on Indiegogo, but it's not. It's not yet. The wrong one. Just do that.
I'm trying to. Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. Pause. Perfect. Okay. I'm just queuing it on the other screen so that when I do the share, I don't have to. Because I'm not great at this. I mean, I've been doing it's only been a year, but I'm still learning.
Well, I think that about my art.
Let me tell you.
I've only been doing it 50 years. I'm just not very good at it yet. Practice makes perfect.
Oh, and don't let me forget to tell you about my short film.
Yeah, well, tell me about your short film.
I don't. This is all about Glenn, but
okay.
we didn't paint together today. But he's also a writer and a filmmaker. And okay, so before I play the film, I'll tell you real quick, because I know you of all people would appreciate this story. So here, have you ever heard of the 48-hour film festival? Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah. Yes,
it's a U.S. thing. Do they have that in England?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't.
So the 48-hour film project, it's this cool thing where you have to go to this central location. Everyone goes on a Friday at like 6:00, and you're given three things. You're given a character, a genre, and a prop. And a line and a line of dialogue. And you have from the get-go, the timer starts. You have exactly 48 hours. You have until 6:00 Sunday.
I could do that.
Right? I knew you'd get this. You'd be like, "Come on, man, let's do it, Dori." Like if I called Glenn up, Glenn, we gotta do it. He's like, "I got this. I totally know this." So I had been on a few of the projects as an actress and as a voice. So one year I couldn't really find a team to work with. I couldn't really, and I know you're going to love this next part. So I sit there and go, well, what's this thing take? And I go look at the website and I look at how much it costs to sign up a team. And I'm like, I got that in the bank. So I sign up a team of one. I got nobody. I got no cameraman. I got nothing. I don't even have equipment. Okay, Glenn, I got nothing. I got me.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
Right? Joe says, Glenn is a great publisher, great editor-in-chief of a magazine. I should know he published a few of my articles. Nice.
Yeah, thank you, Joe.
So I kid you not, I hit submit. Fill it out. Here's the money. Submit. Thank God back then, here in San Diego, we had this publication similar to your newsletter magazine thing that you do. How often do you do the newsletter magazine thing you do?
It's bi-monthly.
Bi-monthly. So the Reader comes out every week. It's called the San Diego Reader. And now, unfortunately, because of the world we live in, it's more online than it is in paper. They still have a printed Reader, and I know exactly where I will still, and I hope this makes you like me more, I will go get the printed San Diego Reader still to this day. I don't read it online.
Good.
No, I got no interest in reading that online.
That's right.
So I put an ad in the San Diego Reader I'm like, no money involved. This is all volunteer. I need a team this weekend, this whatever weekend it was, to do this short film. I ended up with 15 total people on my team. One of the men who joined my team and volunteered to be a part of my team was an editor for documentaries. He did some editing for a couple of documentaries for National Enquirer. That was his day job. His day job. And he's like, I want to do something fun. And so all I cared about was hitting the deadline. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to win an award here. I'm probably not going to get a writer's credit, a writer's award, but I got the writer's credit because I wrote the script. But you have to do everything, Glenn. Write the script.
Yeah.
You can't. The only thing you can do ahead of time is scout location. You could get permission to film on whatever location, said location. You could use stock or photographs, but of course, as you know, I'm sure you had to have copyright ability to whatever. But everything else had to be done in that 48 hours. You couldn't edit ahead of time. You couldn't create the music ahead of time. You couldn't do any of it ahead of time. And they were like, yeah. So
well, I've got about I like traveling. I like traveling around the world, and I went to Easter Island. I wrote a book about that, and I've still got about 6 hours of film that nobody's ever seen that I've not done anything with. So I'm gonna have to edit it down and get it out, put it on a crowdfunder and get it out there. But it's all there. It's just I went there for 3 weeks and it was amazing. I wrote a book about it because that's what I do.
Do you ever play in this? Yes. Okay. So I've seen this and I love that pic. Is that a photograph you took?
Yeah, all the photographs in it, everything in it, I took.
Because photography was my first art love. I was 9 years old when my grandpa gave me a camera. My mom left. She took off when I was 9. And we went to live with our grandparents. And my grandpa gave me a camera. And I have since forgotten how many pictures I took with it. But even today, I still take pictures. All of my art, honestly, could get traced back to the way I used to take pictures. Oh, I love that. It's so beautiful. So I was going to ask you, okay, so I also do spoken word, and I did produce my first full-length spoken word music album this year with my own music. I created my own music blend.
Done that as well.
And so, right, and it's like without even asking, I'm like, this man's going to get me. And is that you who's standing next to it?
Yeah.
That is you?
Now that guy is just as high below the ground.
Wow.
He weighs about 80 tons.
Are these aren't the ones that go down into the ground for a certain big long length? Is it? Yeah. Okay. So what
photography one, yeah.
When I did that film, it was so funny. The whole time the team kept saying, and as a writer, I think you'll appreciate this. They all kept going, Dori, we might need to say more here. We might need to give it another. They kept wanting to put more words in and more detail and more this and more that. And mind you, I directed this. I did not play in it. I did not cast myself in it. I directed it and produced it and wrote it, but I didn't want to be in. I was behind the camera. Me and the director, who this documentary guy, we were behind the camera. That's my favorite place in the whole world. Is let me just direct. I am a personality, but I much prefer when it comes to film. I want to be back here.
Considering the dialogue, the complaint about the dialogue.
I'll tell you why.
I disagree with that totally. What those people should do is go and watch a film by Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, I love Stanley's work.
2001.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. And there's about 3 words in it, and it's the best movie ever made. And it's one of the reasons it's the best movie is because you have to watch it.
Yes.
And people these days can't work anything out. Why have they done that? What's he called? Why did that happen? Well,
100%.
watch. Just watch.
And I'm going to beg you to watch my little short film later, and tell me what, because here's what, and I will not give you any spoilers.
Okay.
But what I will tell you, without spoiling it, because this will not spoil it. So we go to the premiere, because everything that's submitted for the 48-hour film project, the biggest highlight, even if you're a novice and an amateur, it was my first film, you get your film played at the premiere. Everything turned in on time gets played at this real big, huge movie night at a movie theater on screen. It's like literally the screening is like a 2-3 hour thing, because they play everybody's 6-minute film. I'm gonna get, and I know you know this feeling. I almost lost I'm bawling, crying in this theater. I'm watching my film. I'm like, I mean, none of it would have happened if I hadn't found those 14 people to be on my team. But after the film, afterwards, right, we're all in this after party kind of thing, and we're waiting for the winners to be announced, because they're doing all the voting and jazz and all that stuff. And I didn't get, of course, I didn't get anything, of course. I mean, like, I'm up against people who have been independently making films for years, right? Like, but I kid you not, I'm standing with my team, and after about maybe the fourth person, about 4 or 5 people come up to me and they go, "What the fuck was your film about?" or they would say, "Was your film about this? Was your film about this?" And they would guess. And after about the 4th person came up, and now about 3 of them guessed correctly. 3 of them got the answer like that. They got what it was about. They got what happened. They understood. And the other ones were still kind of like, I couldn't tell if it was this or this. What's going on? And I turned to my team and I go, and you guys wanted more dialogue.
Well, I think, you'll have to send me the link, because I want to see it.
I will send you the link, because because nothing I've said will ruin this for you at all. You have to listen to it with headphones. You have to turn the volume, because I will tell you, from a technical standpoint, the one thing we didn't do is the audio should have been louder.
Right.
It should have been louder. That's other than that, I think it's pretty good. Okay, so I've got we're going to watch this again, and then I'm going to start leading us out for the day and let you go on and have the rest of your Saturday.
Okay.
So while we're watching, everyone who is with us, and I know Joe's probably still there. It says we have 2 viewers, so someone else is there. We're going to play this video. But hey, you know what, Glenn? I'll tell you, I know, because I go and I look at all my stats. I have followers who will watch me later. They watch my shows later, and they'll comment or they'll like it. And so I know, based on my view experience with my YouTube tracking, that whoever was here this morning, they're not the only people that are going to watch this.
Right. Let me just say, if it says on Indiegogo now, it's not.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Case.
Oh, I gotta I always remember I gotta unmute it first. Okay, here we go.
When they mine the area, they put down yellow tape right across that line. And if you walk on the wrong side of that yellow tape, you blow up.
Strange Tales 136. I remember it very clearly, and that was my first explosion. But I wanted to show it to people.
Well, you know, what I was thinking, Glenn, was even though it's not on Indiegogo yet, you know, as this in the spirit of spotlighting the masters, what I want to say about that trailer is, did you do that trailer yourself?
Yep, all
The
of it.
music and the timing of the music to the screen editing.
Yeah.
So
I do it all.
Exactly. I know.
I do everything.
I can relate to you so much. It's amazing. Like, I say this a lot. If I can teach myself to do it, or find someone to help teach me to do it, or go find a YouTube video that's going to show me how to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm not paying anybody else to do it.
Yep.
No offense to anyone out there.
Well, at the moment, you see, I'm trying to find the time. I've said this on other podcasts.
Joe is definitely still here. He's working and he's watching. Yay!
When I created Hatch in the 80s, I always saw him as an animated film. Right?
Yes, I've heard you talk about this.
Right, and when I was 18, when I was at college, I really wanted to do animation, and animation is probably the only thing I haven't done. I've done a couple of shorts, very, very short, but what I'm doing now, I'm trying to get the time to learn. There's a fantastic software called Blender, and it's Pixar standard, and I'm learning it now because I want to produce my own Hatch mini film.
Well, I wanted to tell you, I don't know if you've ever used it, but Rich Parada taught me about Autodesk Sketchbook. It's called Sketchbook.
Right.
Sorry, excuse me. The software is called Sketchbook. Sketchbook has as part of it where you can do a flipbook.
Right.
And so there's that. And then I know Mike Jimmy uses Photoshop or something, which also has that. But then I have on my phone, I got Flipbook. It's just an app called Flipbook. Blender, I actually downloaded the app, but I haven't made an animated short on it yet.
Right.
Because same as you. Now, I do have a character I use in my webtoons, but I don't have a character as cute as Hatch. But I love what you just said, because I'm the same way. I've heard you talk about that, and it was one of those moments where I got humbled. I humbled myself, because I'm always talking about how I have no interest in being a sequential artist.
All right.
I always say that. I always talk about this. I always say this. But I go off to create an animated short. You see the irony? Do you see this irony?
Yeah, I think I like to try and do as much as I can. I learn. One of the best things my dad said to me, he said, never learn one thing. Be broad, have a broad stroke, and that's what I've done, because I write, edit, publish, draw, paint, ink, make films, everything. And I want to do. And now, see, my crazy ambition was to produce a 2-hour animated film and draw all the cells, which is about 2 million. So
after having created a 30-second short, you see my face, I'm like,
yeah, that's an impossible task. So, but now with this Blender, you've seen how it works. Have you seen how it works? It's absolutely brilliant, because it does the in-betweening for you, basically, but computerizes it, and it's absolutely wonderful. Some of the effects I've seen on it, they're just incredible. So and I want to produce the Hatch film.
And I think you should, or not should. You will. First of all, you will.
I hope so.
Provided, like what I tell my kids, I'm like, you know what? As long as I'm living and breathing, and I get to have air today, anything is possible. Time has not eluded me. The only, how does it go? I hate to ruin the ending for you, but until you're dead, you got time.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so part of my we didn't get to draw alongside each other, but that's perfectly fine because as filmmakers, well, of course, I've done three films if you count some of the stuff I haven't published, like my stand-up comedy improv stuff. That stuff's part of a sitcom pilot that I will someday try to do something with it, but it's written. Do you have a lot of things that are written but you haven't done anything with them yet?
Yeah, I'm working on at least 3 science fiction novels at the same time. I'm writing a story called 1977, which is a book about my 1977, which was the worst year of my life.
Oh.
And then I'm just putting together a book about New York. I've been to New York 12 times. I love New York.
I love New York.
And I've got 4,000 pictures of New York. I've got I took 1,000 pictures on Easter Island. I'm going to make I think there's about 100 photographs in the book, which means I've got 900 photographs over. Now the best ones are in the book, but I'm going to have to make a companion volume with it, just to show the pictures. And I've got the 6 hours of film to edit, so I might put the DVD in that book. You know.
So, I know what I was going to say, and I'm glad you mentioned the 6 hours of film because I know what helps for me, and you may already know this. I may not have to really. You're the master, not me, but you may already know this. But what I have learned I know what I was thinking. So when I was doing that spoken word music album, I would sit with my phone and I would make the music. I created some of my own little loops. I'm not a musician. I've never played with music, anything, but GarageBand on an iPhone is fucking amazing. Excuse my French, but like the Blender thing. It's like whatever. And iTunes, man, I'm a PC user in the Windows world, but the fact that the Apple people created an app that you can create music with, and they have 0 copyright. Now the loops are copyrighted with the loops in them. You can't take a loop and just make it your own and go release it. You can't do that. You've got to edit it somehow. You've got to stitch it somehow. You've got, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, use it as a guide, wouldn't you?
Right. So I would sit there, and this is what I was going to suggest. I would sit there and I would make music, and I'd hit record, and it would just record while I'm doing my thing, right? So what I learned was because my poetry tracks are like a minute, 2 minutes, half, 30 seconds, that kind of thing. And I would do all the vocals first and clean up the vocals and make sure I had clean spoken word vocals. So because I wanted to know how much music I needed. How long does the music need to be? And so I would, instead of sitting there and trying to create a 30-second track of music, I would create like 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes worth of work of music. And I would put it on while I was doing something as my background. And what I was going to say to you was those 6 hours may not feel so daunting if you put it on and let it play while you're painting, while you're sketching, while you're working, and put it on, let it play. Because what I learned over time is when I sat down to do the music to those spoken word vocals, Glenn, I knew exactly what part of the track I wanted.
Right.
Because I'd been listening to it, and it was on in the background, and I'm like, okay. And like as it would even play sometimes, I'd be in the middle of some other project and I'd go, I want this snippet. Like I could mentally make a note for myself that I was going to want that snippet of music for this particular poem.
Mm-hmm.
If that helps.
Yeah.
There's my 2.
I'm also writing 2 plays.
One's you sound so much like me. I have 3 children's books, a sitcom pilot, a couple of novels.
Well, I've got there's 2 plays. One's a bit more serious. One's a comedy and one's a serious one. And I'm writing songs for the serious one.
It's amazing.
But I've not touched that for a while because I'm doing all these other things as well. So
of course.
But yeah, there's a lot, and I'm also about to, if I can finish it off, produce another book about football, soccer to you. So because my first book was about football, and so I've got another one now, and that's been waiting because I keep getting these other things to do, and there's only so many hours in a day, you know.
I started
Even though I never sleep.
Oh, sorry.
So
I started.
Even though, go ahead.
I started 2021 with the book. It's called This Is. Now it has a title now. It did not have a title at the beginning of the year, but it's called This Is Not Emotional Burlesque, and it's a narrative poetry novel. I had it written. It's written. It's been written all year. And I went off and did the Magic Man album and the book, because it's a poetry book. And I did the album that goes with it. And then I did I did a coloring book, and then I did Bursting Death in Little Spikes, which is a whole other poetry collection. I've done 4 freaking and my haiku series, right? I've done all of these things, and this book, the one I started the year with, I'm still working on it, because after I did the haiku series, I decided to illustrate the narrative poetry novel. And yeah, and now I get you. When you tell me you've got all this going on, but other things I get it, man. I've had so many other things, and I've lost count of the paintings I've done this year. I've done more art this year than I've done in the last 6.5 years.
Yeah.
I've done more art this year.
Since COVID, yeah.
Yeah.
So much work.
100%. And so I queued this up because I wanted to, it literally is like a 15-second thing, but I wanted to show this. I wanted to show this off. Oh, wait. It's not any fun without this. That's my animated short.
I did an animated film of a horse running, but I don't know where it is at the moment, so I can't show you. Just a horse running.
I really, Glenn, here's what's rad, and what I was going to tell you is that not only like Blender or those apps where you can do that, but I have another app called Viva Video or Viva something, and you can take the video and duplicate it and loop it. So that, what you just watched, was like 12, maybe 15 little sketches, but it keeps replaying him. So it makes him look like he's doing it longer of a time, but it really, and you know what I mean. You've edited videos, you get it. You can take a smaller short and turn it into a much longer animated thing when you start duping or looping. And you can even flip your images and stuff. And so, not that I want to distract you from whatever project you are on today, but I guess maybe I'm excited for when Hatch is an animated creature or character. Well, I'm like, we need to get Glenn to go get Hatch animated.
I do know a guy who's very good in Blender. He doesn't know I'm saying this, and I'm not going to mention any names, but I do have some. If I got the money to have it produced, I would ask him, because he's brilliant. He doesn't. Even if he's watching, he won't know it's him, but he might do. Okay. But he'd want paying, and that would be fair. But that's why I want to. There's 2 reasons I want to learn how to use Blender. And one is so I can, not that I'm a control freak, but I can control the whole thing, and I'm not relying on other people, because other people just let you down. So, can do, and
some,
and just yeah,
most.
Yeah, and just most yeah,
most.
Just have another string to my bow, that I can make animated films, because I've edited other films,
You and I don't even know how this is going to sound, but I hope it sounds the way I intend for it to sound. You make me feel validated in so many ways. I'm sorry. Because sometimes I worry, like sometimes I go, you do too much, you saturate, you got all this, you got way too many fires in the kiln, and I got all this second guessing, self-hate or naysayer bullshit in my head, right? Yeah. And you reassure me of what I already know to be true, what my soul knows to be true, what my heart knows to be true. You give me that hope that I'm gonna attain, the things I want to do. Like I have a couple of children's shorts. The whole illustrating thing, me wanting to know anything about illustrating came more from a desire to illustrate children's books that I have written. They didn't exist before my children. These books, they came out of my mouth to my children bedside. And I've never, now, are they totally unique and never been done before? No. I mean, there's so much out there. I mean, there's so much out there. They are faith-based. Most of my children's books are faith-based because I raised my children in the Christian faith. And I had just never got around to doing anything with those books because my head I can't imagine them with just words on paper. They need pictures. These stories need pictures. And I'm this artist who doesn't like doing anything I don't like doing anything to a structure. I don't want.
Well, I published a children's book a couple of years ago. You might have seen it on the Amazon thing, Little Green Tree. I've got an old hard drive that I can't access, and part 2 is scanned on it. If I can't get into it, I'll have to. There's nothing wrong. I'll have to have them scanned again, but I'm trying to avoid that.
Yeah.
Well, that came about. That story came about when I was actually flying in a little Cessna aircraft over the Grand Canyon.
Right.
And I saw something, and I explain it in the book, and it's about what happened with this little green tree. And what happened was I was flying over, and there was like a V-shape forest going towards the edge of the canyon. Mm-hmm. And right at the front of the V-shape was they were all trees, but there was a little tree, and he was smaller than the rest, and you could. So I'm thinking about this idea, and all the shadows from the other trees covered him. So I just wondered if he had a shadow. So in my book, he hasn't got a shadow, and he can't see over the edge into the canyon. You see, and that's what it's all about. And all the other ones around him pick on him, and and they're all mean to him and all this kind of thing. So yeah, so I know what you mean about the kids' book, and that's in Australia. It's everywhere, that book. And like I said, I hope I can get back into this hard drive to get these scans off. Otherwise, I'll just have to have them done again. But I'm trying to
the thing that's on your hard drive that you can't get to is, do you have a printed version of it?
It's part 2. The one on Amazon is part 1.
No, I mean in your own, like you said, part 2 is on a computer you can't get to.
Yeah, the scans of the artwork.
Oh, the artwork.
Yeah, I've got the artwork. If I can't get on it, I'll have to have them rescanned.
I was thinking about the text of the actual story.
No, I've got that. I've got the whole thing. I've got the artwork and the text, but I have them scanned, but they're on a separate hard drive, and I can't get into it.
Could you scan the artwork again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to pay for it again, so I'm trying to avoid that.
Oh,
because these drawings are huge. They're not A3. They're big pieces.
I see. Because
so
you'd have to go to one of those places with the huge flatbed scanner, Okay, no, I get it. I know exactly what you're talking about. I was trying to get to. I wanted to get on there. Mine. Two Faces of Lee Harvey Oswald. That's one of yours.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to share this one because I know there's one of these will take us to your author page. So this is Amazon. Okay. So if I go Glenn B. Fleming, I'm going to get your books. Okay. The Two Faces of Lee Harvey Oswald. Give me a little quick rundown of what that is.
I read a lot and researched a lot about that assassination, and I wanted to get all this stuff out of my head. Now, there's about 500 books about the Kennedy assassination, so I didn't want to write another book about where the bullets came from and all that. So what I try and do when I write is put a different spin on things. So I did it from his point of view, from inside his head. So there was a lot of things that he wouldn't know that were going on that I leave out, but he's thinking when he gets arrested and all this kind of thing. So it's from his point of view. It's more of a novel than a factual book, but it's
which I love, actually. Like, I honestly, I saw this, and no offense, Glenn, but I saw this and went, I mean, what more can be said? But what you just said just blew my mind. Like, I didn't realize that what you told from Lee Harvey's perspective. Wow. Okay. And then now, is this
S172 is another. S172 is. We got to. S172 is a more factual book about the same subject.
What you should see now? Okay, yeah, I switched it to your author page. So these are the books, and this is this one this paperback? This is the one you said you were doing about football, or that you did.
That's the published one. I'm doing another one, and now I'm doing another one.
And is this the rival to sci-fi?
Yeah, but that's been republished as Encounter. So I'm trying to get that taken down, but they don't. When you task them to take things down, they don't. So don't get that one. Get Encounter.
Okay, hold on.
That's got my drawings in it as well.
So, because this is what this is probably why I thought something was missing, because I had heard you mention a book, but when I got to your page, these are the only 5 I see here.
If you put in that's not like that on my thing. If you put in put my name in, put my name after that, and see what happens. Have we broken up?
Yeah, I think we may have broken up.
Put my name after Encounter.
Okay, so look, when I find Encounter, Glenn, let me go to it.
That's the one. That's it, yeah.
Okay. You're listed in here twice.
Right.
Let me click on. See this? When I click one of them, it just takes me here.
That's the way you want to stay. That's the one. I don't know why it's done this. I only upload it. I don't know what they do with it.
Let me go to the other one. Yep, they both take me here. Okay.
Yeah, that's the magazine that I published, Comics Unlimited. That's Hatch on it. That's the latest one.
Mm-hmm.
So just scroll down or up, and you'll see.
Yeah, see, this is giving me. This is what I was saying. I knew when I came across your author page, which is something you have to set up using Amazon's thing called Author Central or whatever. Right. I knew when I got to that launch page that we were at a little bit ago, I'm like, there's no way this is everything. I knew it. I'm like, why doesn't everything show here? And I think it's just a matter of, like, when I go to mine, how did I do that? Oh yeah. I go to what's called, this is not what I want. On my Kindle publishing, when I go in as my actual Kindle publishing, like do you do your own uploading to Amazon?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can talk offline about that. But anyway, there's something that's not linking these that we're seeing now to your author page. Not that it really matters. I mean, the only reason you'd care, Glenn, ever, is if you wanted to send someone to your author's page, it would show everything.
Yeah.
And it doesn't and the only reason it doesn't is because us as authors, we have to go in and we have to manually add it. Amazon will not do that for us.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Even if you are the published author, which you are, they're not going to go in and connect your book to you on your author page. You have to do that yourself. I have to go in there and I have to do that myself.
Right.
So that's really the only thing I wanted to show you. But I also want, while we're on here, I wanted to make sure I've heard you talk about, not all of these, but I've heard you talk about them, and that's why I knew when I found, like, here's the one you showed me. You held this up, this how do you say it again? Laptius or laptis?
Iapetus.
It's an I. Oh my God. Iapetus.
Iapetus, yeah. It's one of the moons of Saturn.
An illustrated novel. I love that.
It's
and
a
this
real place.
Encounter. This is the one you said that I would want rather than the other one. And then
the other one's just an ebook. That's a physical book.
Okay. And here's the paperback of the Jack Kirby Variations on a Theme. Is this the book that's coming with the DVD?
No, that's a magazine that's already out. That other people gave me articles about Jack Kirby. It's a different thing.
Here's the little green tree.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And Dark Side. Look at this. Now we got a whole page 2. We have a page 2, people. Glenn has a page 2. Yeah, this is rad. Okay, I'm so glad so I know that, and I know you won't be offended by this. With as much as work you've done, one of the only reasons I wanted to bring up to you how hard it was for me to find your publications in here was I know you're going to want to take a look at that. You've done so much. You've got so much out there. The last thing you'd ever want anyone to do is go, where's all his work? I don't understand. And now clearly, when I searched it this way, the way you told me to, I found you. I went into, how did I get to here? I think you told me, oh yeah, see, I put this in, okay? Yeah. And while that's fine, you probably wouldn't want your customers to have to keep doing that. No.
I'll look at it later.
Okay.
I didn't know it was doing that.
It's just I didn't know that either. I was like, and the only reason I knew, the only reason I even knew is I was on the author page. I was buying a book from a poet that I like. And I scroll down, and over on the left was his name and his picture. And this little thing that said I could follow him.
Wow.
And I click follow, and then I go, what's this sorcery? Like, what is this all about? And then I'm like, of course, on Google going, what's this thing called author page? And then it took me some time to set it up. I had to set it up, and obviously yours is set up because I did find it. But it took some digging.
Right.
It took some digging. I think that book you wrote about your dad, that's how I found your author's page, because I want to say I found that book, and when I clicked your name in that book's description, I finally got taken to your author's page.
Right. Okay.
So
I'll check it out.
And so yeah, I'm super excited. I had such a great time with you today. We went way over the hour and 0 complaints about it. 0.
I should think so too.
That's right. I enjoyed every second of it, and I could probably spend another couple of hours just trying to suck all of the knowledge and wisdom out of your brain. But yeah, I really could.
But we'll do it again.
And just one last time for old time's sake, Mr. Fleming.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
And I appreciate you too.
You told me not to call him Mr. Fleming, but I'm
Thank you for having me on your show.
I really, really enjoyed it. And I love that there's someone else out there that makes me feel like I'm not alone.
No.
And I know you and I are not alone. I know we're not the only people who have the variations of our work. I know that. I have one of my poems is called I Am a Myriad. And it's to sum you and I up, that's what we are. Like, don't try to guess what color we are, man, because you're just going to cut. Do you have any ideas of how many colors you can get out of the colors that we got in our spectrum?
That's right.
Right?
Billions, zillions.
But gazillions. I dig it, man. I dig it. And so, yeah, go follow Glenn. All of his links and details is in the description of this video. And do you tell me again, what timeline do you have for this book and movie that's coming out?
I've got to finish off the design. Well, I've got to put it into the pages. All the design's done. So I'm waiting for the final edit. A guy's editing it for me.
Okay.
Who's the editor of my magazine, and I'm waiting for him. So as soon as that's done, I'll put it into the pages and finalize the costs and the prices and get it all priced up and all that kind of thing. So hopefully, I'm hopefully by the end of next week it should be up, or at least the pre-launch will be up.
I was going to ask you, have you just thought about maybe getting the pre-launch out there and just start collecting emails?
I'm going to have to do that now. Yeah, I was going to do that, but I like to get the job finished. I don't like going in with a job half done because things happen, and
I can relate.
So it's probably 95% done, 96% done. So, but I think I'm getting a bit more confident now with the pre-launch, because I don't want to do pre-launch and then it don't happen for 3 months, because that would be wrong.
Yeah, and I can relate to that wanting something done thing, because I really had no real idea that I was even going to do a campaign at all, and I did. That was one of the reasons I did what the pre-launch thing was, because my book was done, but then because I'm like you, I'm like, I don't even know, I don't even want to think about this until it's done. What are you talking about? Do this before it's done. I also wanted to have that time, and I'm sure you've done this before, so you probably get this. I wanted to have, while the campaign is active, I didn't want to have to be working on creating the thing.
That's right, yeah.
I was going to spend too much. I knew I was going to be spending time talking about it, promoting it, shooting it out there. I do have some pieces of it, some of the artwork, because as you heard me say, I did it on the paper I did it on. To me, they're perfectly fine. They could go good as whatever. But the actual hand painted pieces, some of them, I'm going through them right now, and I'm just touching them up, and I'm re-blacking some of the blacks, and I'm just honing it in. Like the art's done. The art is done.
Well, the thing is, isn't it? I mean, you're the same as I am. The thing is that it's got to please you.
Oh yeah.
It has to please you. I've got
to be able to buy it.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's not going anywhere if it doesn't please you.
If it doesn't please me, and there was a time when I wouldn't sell my art, but now that I will, Glenn, I will not stop tinkering. I'll put it away, sure, but I'm not going to stop. It's not done until I can look at what I'm looking at, and I know I would pull out my wallet to buy it.
Yeah.
If I get, whether it's a painting or the piece on paper, if my brain gets to that part where I go, yeah, if I saw this, I'd want it, then I know it's done.
That's right. Yeah.
You've
got to be your own worst or best judge.
This is true. I had a piece. I felt I had no problem. I did throw it away. I was like, I knew that, and you know what? I've only done that in my whole life. I've only actually ripped up and thrown away something maybe 3 times, maybe 4. I might be stretching it saying 4. 3, I can tell you exactly what they were. 3. That's it. And that 4th one, I can't remember. I want to say there's a 4th one, but for some reason I'm not, like, it's not. But
this is why you should never throw anything away. I did this when I was 14.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's a comic, right? That's when I was 14.
Is what you're holding hand drawn and hand painted and all that stuff? Like, is that all that paper the original?
Yeah, this is done in biro and colored pen. It's not on board. It's just pieces of paper.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that the actual book in itself is art. Like, the whole thing is a piece of art.
Yes.
You put that up for auction. It needs to start. The opening bid needs to be about $1,000 or something.
Well, I hope so. Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So this is from 1969 when I was 14, and that's why you should keep everything.
Yeah. Well, I know for a fact going into volume 2, and I'll let you go after we wrap this up because you already know this. You have inspired me and given me so much motivation, reassurance of so much. And I know for a fact that as good as I know volume 1 is going to be master level for what I'm going to be perfectly satisfied giving my backers what I'm going to be giving them. I know this. But I do know volume 2 will be better.
Yeah.
Because I will be doing it on the boards. I'm going to get the inks. I'm going to illustrate it using my own lettering in my own boxes for the haikus.
Yeah.
All of that has come from my exposure to you and to the other creators in the comic book world that have inspired me to up the ante. Because I am that girl. Not only am I going to want to do it myself and teach myself how to do it, if I find out that something I'm doing is not pure,
Right.
I'm a purist. I'm not gonna lie.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm playing and dabbling into the digital world, and I'm loving actually some of it. I'm loving some of it, not all of it. But
Well,
at heart, I still want to do it pure.
Well,
I still want to do it all.
I think I probably bore everybody to death, but I'm going to do it again now. I think I've done computer lettering, but now I do my own.
Yes. No, you're not boring me. Let me put that on solo. You're not boring me at all. This, I had already made the decision to do mine for my next book, but then when I saw you talking about it on a stream blend, now that's so amazing. Is the little yellow square box, that's all your lettering as well, right?
Yeah.
Oh, see, this is exactly why I'm going to do my own letter. Because my haiku series, they're haikus. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. I've learned, love it. I've learned not to say it's going to be easy or this won't take so long or whatever. But I definitely am looking forward to the challenge.
Well, you should do it. I encourage every artist to do the whole thing. Get some board, get some pens, get some coloured ink, and draw. And there's all the building up the sand colours to the side.
And those are all still with the ink, right? You're not using watercolors?
Just all ink.
And here's what I love. And Glenn, show everyone the part with all your colors off to the side. See how you have all the colors on the board? So I do that on pieces of paper next to me sometimes. What he's got right here, for those of you watching, I do that with my paint sometimes, Glenn. Like you remember when you were saying that when something dries, it's a darker color?
Yep.
I'm going to need to do more of that now that I'm doing these illustrated pages. Oh my God, the detail. It just blows my mind.
I just love drawing. I love it. It's the best thing.
Oh, he's so cute. Yeah, he absolutely would be cute. Would be so perfect as a little animated guy.
Do you know what was good while Joe's watching? When I showed him some of these drawings, Joe was in the Air Force, and he recognised the little helmet that he has on. So,
I was going to say it looks like the flight helmets.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's rad.
That was good. So there's somebody, a guy who actually, I don't think he wore one like that, but it's just nice when people who can recognise things.
Convinced me to go back to traditional aspects of comic production. Still not there with inking sequential pages, but it's more of a confidence thing with the work. So yeah, so well, we've already heard the irony behind the fact that I don't do sequential art, but yet, I want to go do animation. Hello.
So you should do it.
So, but there's something about, maybe it's the filmmaker in me, But there's something about the fact that it's going to turn into an animation that doesn't bother me, and I can have it onion my guy. You know,
Well,
like
don't forget, if you look at the real masters of this stuff, like Leonardo and all these people, you know, from 500 years ago, they didn't do sequential art as such, but there's a lot of storytelling in those paintings about what's going on. I mean, they're not moving, and there's no movement, but they're definitely telling stories, you know.
Yeah.
So it's this. I think it's the same thing. I don't think it needs to be 15 panels to tell something. You can tell it in one shot, and you can have a lot going on around it.
And I can foresee, you know, what I mean by not being a fan of or not doing sequential art. I don't do realism. Like, I don't do people. Right. Like, I do people, but I do distorted, weird, abstract figures of people. Right. To try to draw, like, my character in my comedy series is a woman dating, and she's dealing with dating, and she's dealing with romance, and she's dealing with love, and then she's also spiritually faith-based, and so she's all over the place, okay? And, you know, and yes, the character's based on me, but the thing is like, I make myself sick of me sometimes. The last thing I would want to do is illustrate that comic strip. My webtoons of me is like,
that'll be the best bit.
I'm like, I don't want to draw me in panels, man. No, I don't even bother. Like, when the time comes, that is a whole future aspiration, not happening today. But when I find a good sequential artist who's willing to do a comic, or comedy comic, because it's a comedy, it gets serious sometimes, but it's mostly comedy. It's a romance comedy, really. Yeah. But I've got more research to do. I've got way more learning to do before I even embark into that world. The good news is that I got 16 years of it written.
Good.
The writing is done. Now, what I am doing with those, Glenn, I'm taking, because I've done comedy writing. I haven't done stand up, and I did stand up once this year, but I do plan with COVID, I've wanted to go back to the stage and do stand up comedy more actively back on stage, but I haven't been able to. So anyway, what I'm doing now that I've had the exposure to the comic book world is I'm taking those jokes, these comedy written jokes and the comedy writing that I have, and I'm rewriting them and rescripting them in here. I mean, on paper, but also with the knowledge in here of what that might look like to pictures, to a comic book. So I am rewriting those scripts as I come across some of my old jokes. Joe says, if you can storyboard, you can do sequential art. I'm not a fan of storyboarding. If you say otherwise, you're lying.
That's right. Storyboarding is a comic. That's what a comic is.
Here's me. This is me. I'm a fine art painter that doesn't want to do anything that's ever existed before. That's my art. When I approach a piece of paper, Glenn, or I approach a canvas, I might have an idea of what I want it to be: a woman, a tree, a flower. I don't have any desire to do I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and want to sketch and paint a Superman. That's not going to happen. No. It's not going to happen. I do have a black Spider-Man to do for a kid, though. I am going to do my first superhero painting, portrait, whatever. I am going to do it. I told a kid I would do it. He drew me a Dori fish. He drew me a Dori fish, man. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you want? Art for art, man. Let's do some art for art here. You know, it's Pop's grandkid, actually. And the kid comes out with Black Spider-Man Morales. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, he's going to get the most avant-garde, fine art abstract of Black Spider-Man he's ever seen in his whole life.
Pops is going to end up with so much artwork in that studio, obviously. You won't be able to.
But I'm going to do it. I mean, would I have woke up and said, I want to draw a Spider-Man today? No, that was not, I mean, knock on wood, But that wouldn't happen. That's not my taste. It's not me. Do I love watching other people do it? Yeah, hell yeah. I watched Rich Parada. He did Judge Dredd the other day, and I'm just glued to the screen like this, watching what he does, right? Do I want to sketch Judge Dredd? No.
There's a film on YouTube of me colouring a Spider-Man drawing that I did from John Romita. The drawings I copied John Romita's drawing. It's nothing to do with him.
Really? Okay, so what you're saying is I need to watch this before I embark in my commission for my. I'm calling Pop's grandkids thing as commission because it's art for art. To me, it still counts as a commission. He drew me a Dori fish.
Yeah, well, it is. It's got to swap.
So, I do want to throw this back up for again. I am going to storyboard, by the way, Joe, just so you know. I have a children's book. I had it written in narrative, prose, long form, okay? Because Mike Jimmy was accepting submissions for standalone stories. And there's no guarantee he's going to use it, okay? But I am going to take one of my stories. So what I did is I took the children's story and I did it in the way that I would want a storyboard to lay out. I picked it apart, basically. I took the narrative, and you guys probably, I would think, know what I'm talking about. I took the narrative and I turned it into dialogue per page, basically.
Right.
In a list format. And I have the actual pages printed to do the storyboards. Have I actually started sketching? No. but I will. Don't tell me I won't. Don't tell me I won't, and don't tell me I can't. Because guess what's going to happen, Glenn? I'm going to do it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I know you're going to do it.
And I know you'll get this when I say this. You know why? A lot of why I am the way I am. My dad was a Navy SEAL.
Oh wow! Well, there you go.
One of my stand-up comedy jokes, and I have to tell you this, I can't let you go without hearing this, is that I still date. I date. I'm 51. I don't want to date. I don't like to date. If you're not bringing food, don't even bother. However, I can occasionally be convinced to date someone. But I will tell you that I am a daughter of a Navy SEAL. So I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are, guy that thinks he can date me. But let me explain something to you. I'm the daughter of a Navy SEAL. You're not a badass to me. You'll never be a badass to me. You're not a rock star to me. You'll never be a rock star to me. I'm not looking for a fan. I'm not going to be your fan. I'm looking for a man. And the reason we say that, do you know how many men have tried to say, they're the biggest badass on the whole planet, and I've done this, and I've done that, and I've climbed this, and I've climbed that, and I've jumped out of planes, and I go, my dad was a Navy SEAL.
Well, my answer to that is that, and you won't believe this, I landed the space shuttle.
You did?
Yeah, on the simulator at NASA.
On the simulator.
And you know what they said to me when I did it? They asked me how long I'd been flying.
That's fucking amazing.
I was the first civilian.
Excuse the language.
I was the first civilian to land the space shuttle on their simulator. And they told me that.
So I'm a sci-fi nerd. Sci-fi is my favorite genre. What is Joe says that kid will have an original that would make others jealous.
That's right, yeah. Something to hang on the wall.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Because it's a simulator, but that's no joke, man. Those simulators are no joke. The NASA simulators are no joke.
I had one chance. You have one chance. I mean, the pilot.
Well, you're probably going to die if you don't land this.
Well, you are, because the real pilots only have one chance.
I was going to say.
They can't fly around again.
What's that deal, bub?
When that orbiter comes in the atmosphere, it's a glider. There's no engine. There are engines on it, but they're used with the big tank at the beginning when they take off.
Is
Just
it like
they land it.
Is it like those guys who are trying to land a plane on water? Do you think?
I don't know.
Because I know, like, water planes. I want to say I was trying to remember. It's this last of my. All I can think about now is how you're not impressed when the Marine and Navy still argue who is better. The Air Force vet in me would just laugh, but I get your point. So it isn't just the fact that he was a Navy SEAL. He was also a veteran of Vietnam. Okay, so Navy SEAL's part of it. The fact that he was a madman. The fact that he survived 2 tours in Nam.
Wow.
Okay. In addition to that, he was an adrenaline junkie by his own admission. Glenn, he was an adrenaline junkie. So he gets out of the military, gets out of the Navy. He goes to LA and becomes a stuntman.
As Evel Knievel.
Okay. On movies. He's on set, on movies, doing stunts. Before the days of all this lazy CG, let's use all of these whatever graphics and computer animation. No, he did stuntman back in the day when it was like, Dukes of Hazzard and what's that other one? Smokey and the Bandit. There was one of the car. Anyway, so then like that's not enough. He decides to go work with some of the offshore oil rig companies because I grew up in Louisiana, and he's a dynamite guy. He was the stickman. He was the guy that was known around his parts as in his professional world as the guy you would call if it could possibly kill you, because Tom didn't care. Tom was willing to die. He had a death wish. Have you ever seen the first Lethal Weapon movie?
Yeah.
That was the madman, insane Martin Riggs, who didn't give 2 fucks and would have let you blow him away because he had a death wish. That was my dad. He was insane. He was a total madman. He did not settle down, and this is why I have hope for a 3rd husband. He would not settle down, and he didn't settle down until 2 things happened. When I was a little girl, sometime in my young ages, after living a life like that, he's changing a tire on the side of the road, and he's on the side of the car that's not by the road. He's on the other side of the car, right? And he's changing the tire. A drunk driver swerves off the road, hits the car he's changing the tire on, which then impales him and gets on him or whatever. He loses a leg at mid-thigh and the use of his arm, his dominant arm.
Wow.
A man that I thought he was nuts before. Then now you take that kind of guy, it would be like you or I not being able to draw anymore.
Yeah.
Or go blind and we can't see or can't paint. Then he was even more nuts. And the second thing that that kind of countered that was his 3rd wife, which he called the love of his life. And he said that he goes, Dori, yes, it takes 3 strikes or 3 swings to get a strikeout at bat. He goes, I didn't have to strike out because with that 3rd swing, I hit my homer. That's what he called his 3rd wife. So what is the Joe says, he gets much respect. All Vietnam and World War II vets needed. I was lucky to stay stateside during Desert Shield. Nice. I hate to do this, Glenn, but I am definitely at this point needing a human break and more coffee and start the rest of my Saturday. Do you want to tell us anything else you want to do? Any pitch stuff? Any more info? Anything else you want to talk about?
No, just the Indiegogo thing should be up in a week or so now. But the pre-launch, and then I'm hoping to have it available for November, which is 60 years since the Fantastic Four was published.
Okay.
That's what I want to do.
All of the ways to find Glenn were in the description for today's show, as well as I put this in comments. And so everything there, I usually test all of my links and they all tend to work.
Going to be okay. Yeah.
Yep, they should be okay. And as you know, some of you already heard, Glenn's going to take a look at his Amazon connections for his books, make sure everything's showing on his office.
I'm also trying to put up a new website because my other website was hijacked a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And so again, like I said before, people let you down. Somebody was doing it for me, but they didn't come through. So I've got to do it myself, like I did the first one in the first place.
Well, when you do it yourself, speaking from one professional to another, and I've been using computers since they were DOS. When a software system asks you to do the two-factor authentication, say yes. It's a pain in the ass, and it means getting a text with a code or an email with a code.
What happened with my other website?
Worth it. 100%.
What happened was that I was away, and my domain name expired.
And then it was no longer available.
And then when I came back the next day or a couple of days later, I got an email saying it was about to expire, and I went to renew, and it had already expired, and some Japanese dating site got my name, and that's what's there now. And I contacted
what was your .com that they stole basically?
My name.
Glenn B. Fleming or just Glenn Fleming?
GlennBFleming.com. So I got in touch with the hoster, the provider.
Yeah,
and they said there was nothing they could do because it was done legitimately. I said, yeah, but I've had this website for 10 years.
For sale?
Is what?
Is your Glenn B. Fleming listed for sale?
No. Oh yeah, $5,000 or $10,000, whatever they want.
Yeah, they do that on purpose.
So I just thought, no, I'll just build a new one.
Well, this it wasn't the same thing, and it wasn't the same. Nobody was after me, but I have a very common name, Doris Jones. It's so super common. Like, you know how many Joneses there are? When I produced my album and I put it with my music distribution company and stuff, I wanted to test it out and have a run through and kind of get a feel for it. So I released a single first. And I'm glad I did it because the single, I didn't use my middle name and I didn't use an initial. I didn't want my middle name out there because that's kind of how people can know more private details about you. But there's a Doris Jones that was a blues singer in the way back. She's great. I was actually kind of grateful because I came yet another blues singer to add to I added her to my Billie Holiday and Nina Simone playlist. But her name is Doris Jones, and I retracted that one and I stripped it down. But now when I publish anything, whether it's my books or my music or my spoken word, it's all Doris Faye Jones. I use the middle name because it wasn't unique enough to leave it out. I had to use them. I could use an F, a middle initial F. I don't know why that bugged me. I don't know why putting Faye looked better aesthetically. I don't know. Anyway, it is my grandma. And going back to my grandma, the ring I have, Faye was her nickname. That's what. That's.
Well, there you go.
So I'm like, you know what? That's probably why. God, the universe, or whatever wanted Faye to be in my. Yeah. So right. I think I'm gonna. So I'm going to put us in the backstage again.
Okay.
And I'm going to play your trailer as our go out, and as soon as it's done, I will, while it's playing, like right at the end after it's played, I'll hit the offline thing. If you want to hang out, you're more than welcome to, Glenn, but I won't be able to stay very long. But you're more than welcome to. But I'm again honored that you agreed to come on. Honored that you spent your time with me. I got you all to myself to pick your brain with all the millions of things I wanted to ask you that I've been wanting to ask you as I've sat back in live streams. So that and I'm, you know what? Later today, guaranteed later today, I'll probably go, man, I forgot to ask Glenn this. I forgot to ask Glenn that. Like, I'm sure it's going to happen. That's just how I am. Okay, so I have this queued, and I'm going to add it to the stream, but then I'm going to put it in solo layout. Make sure I do that right. And so yeah, so I'm gonna send us off with this. For everyone who's watched, thank you for being here. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you. And be on the lookout for this book coming out, because you said a week or so, Glenn, it should be on Indiegogo.
The pre-launch will be on, yeah.
Okay. All right, perfect. I'm gonna play this and then we'll be headed out.
Okay, thank you for having me on.
When they mined an area, so they put down yellow tape right across that line. And if you walk on the wrong side of that yellow tape, you blow up.
Strange Tales 136. I remember it very clearly, and that was my first exposure to Kirby. And I wanted to show it to people.